Dice grinders, getting hype on the felt. Roll the dice and we delve. Step into the table, ain't no pity for self. Yo, the game's on, money long, jackpot in the palm. Bouncing off the wall, got my squad staying calm. 7-11 ringing heaven, ain't no bet, I'm regretting. Crack the code like a legend, all the stacks we collected. Throwing bones, street lamps and sorcery tones. In the zone, game of thrones, watch it flash like a phone. Dice grinders, popping collars, no fear in the eye. We on fire, building empires, striking higher than sky. Bank rolls, heart and soul, let the fervor ignite. Victory tonight, it's the gambler's delight. Roll that come out bang, about to spread my fame. Win or lose, game infused, ain't no shame in the chain. Sweat drips, luck flips, yeah the stakes are insane. Crush the tables, fate was spinning, welcoming rain. Crowd buzz, razzle dazzle, cheers on the rise. Backdoor pass, y'all dreaming larger in size. Chasing aces, kingly paces, no disguise. Fortune glossy, living posh, devils rolling the dice. Dice grinders, popping collars, no fear in the eye. We on fire, building empires, striking higher than sky. Bank rolls, heart and soul, let the fervor ignite. Victory tonight, it's the gambler's delight. Gambler's delight. It's the gambler's delight. Dice grinders.
All right. Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It's Arnell, Dice Grinders. I wasn't actually going to do a video talking about my last couple days at the casino until I actually sat down, and because I know how I was pressing, I wanted to find out, how many rolls it was. And, when I saw the number, I was like, that's unbelievable. and I'm actually going to show a number that's probably like below because of all the, just the numbers and the repeats. I wasn't sure how many times I repeated points and stuff like that. But let's say hi to people out there. Looks like Low Roller Lucas is out there. He says to the moon. Yep. SJ's out there. Even got Fuzzy. What's up, Fuzzy? Feel free to jump on if you want. Got Jay-Z, Silver Fox out there. Kevin, Blue Jay Way. All right. Jim, Badger 87, hello. Looks like Sean R is out there. And Rex Vegas. All right, welcome everybody. So anyway, I haven't actually been hitting up the casinos. Everybody knows I got beat up last year. So I sorry to say my bankroll, went to zero after last year. So the times I did go to the casino this year, I'd only go if I have the money, extra money to, play and stuff like that. So suffice it to say, I didn't really get to go too many times this year. I did plan for a couple this year, but even those didn't really, come out to the positive. So after those, I basically said, I'm going to hold off. We'll wait a while and, practice up at home and stuff like that. So just to set the stage, you guys know I made that Dice Duel tournament. And hopefully, people enjoy it and it's like beneficial for them. Because I've been finding, at least these last few times I've hit the casinos, that, doing that Dice Duel and actually like practicing it, to hit the different combinations of numbers. It kind of enlightened me on, when I'm at the casino. So we could start it off. Looks like Steve Baggs is out there. How's it going? He actually beat me twice in the Dice Duel tournament. Congrats. All right. And then, so anyway, I attribute, how I've been rolling to that, that actual tournament, and the way, I've had to rethink of, changing the dice set and things like that to hit specific numbers, not really the combination, but to hit specific numbers. So this past weekend, I actually planned to hit up the casino. So I hit up the casino on Sunday and got there basically, right when the table opened. Unfortunately, they only opened up half a table, and it wasn't the side I wanted. So I waited around. They told me when they were going to open the other side. There was a regular there that I know. His name's Dre. If you're watching, he probably doesn't watch my channel, but all good. He was there. He was actually rolling pretty good, on stick left. And I watched him for a while. And then just before they were going to open up the other table or the other side, I figured, okay, I'm gonna roll from the end over here on the same side that he was on. So I rolled. Wasn't doing anything great. Didn't make any money basically off that, but I just wanted to roll just to get a feel. So they went ahead and opened the side I wanted. He stayed on the left. I was on the right. So this actually started out, it was actually a choppy table. Me and him were on the table for a little while before some other regulars showed up. And they took up, basically the ends. These regulars, they buy in for a lot more than I do. They don't really set the dice or anything like that, but I've been playing with them for years. So it's kind of interesting because some of them will, hit the ATS and get the fire bet and stuff like that. So there's certain regulars I'll bet, the bonus stuff on because I've been there. I've seen them do it. It doesn't matter that they're not setting. There's specific people I'll still bet, and mainly because they're confident. Just the way they're tossing the dice, I could see that they're confident. So anyway, it was a choppy table. It got to one of the regulars, and that guy Dre actually moved from stick left. I was actually surprised that he moved from stick left and went straight out. So another regular actually grabbed stick left, and he just bought in. So I knew him, played with him. So I actually bet the bonus stuff and the fire bet. And this is where the table actually turned around from being choppy. We'll say he had a really great roll because he actually hit the 5-point fire bet. So as soon as he hit that, and I had my, a fire bet on him. The max is 5, so it paid out, $12.50. After that, the other table opened up. So the other guys that actually buy in for more, they wanted to go to the other table because it's like it was a higher limit table. And I think that's what they're normally used to playing, or they may like the other table better. So they moved, and then even that guy Dre, he actually left because he wasn't. I don't think he was on that 5-point fire, so he didn't make out. The only ones that made out, I think, was me and 2 other regulars that were betting it. So that was actually good. And then, Fuzzy says, sounds like Mike. Yeah, it was definitely Mike, Kevin. You definitely know who they were. I'm sure Alfredo's seen them too. Wait till they open the other side. Yeah, I only put 100, so rolled once, and that was it. I didn't care too much to shoot from the end, but it was just to pass the time, basically. So after those guys left, it was me and another guy showed up, which was another regular. I've played with him before. His name's Bill. Many times, and it was my turn to roll, and I kept the dice for a while. Just to sum it up, I hit the 4-point fire, and then after I hit the 4-point fire, the other guy, Bill, got the dice, and then it came back around to me, and I hit another 5. This time I hit a 5-point fire, so pretty much like back to back. I couldn't get, I think the last number I needed to light up was just an 8. If I could hit an 8, that would have been the 6-point fire. But I couldn't get it lit up, I don't think. So didn't happen, but I did hit the 5-point fire, and went from there. So we'll go on to the next day, but basically I left, Sunday, definitely in the green, and helped out my bankroll just by, hitting 2 5-point fires and, what I was betting and stuff like that. So I actually took the day off Monday, and, told myself I'm going to go to a casino and try to build my bankroll some more. This time they actually had the other table open, second table, and not the one I played at the day before. So I went ahead, jumped on that table. Again, there was a couple regulars, so I think there was 3 of us at the table when it started. And I think I started off, and I start, rolling good. I was in double digits, and that one, it went pretty good. Basically started out winning, like in the green. And then the next guy that shot, he actually passed the dice to, another guy, a regular that buys in pretty big. And I bet on him, but he wasn't, didn't keep the dice too long. So I got the dice back again pretty quick. And then I noticed I was still in double digits, and I started hitting the sides of the ATS. So this one, I hit a side, and I want to say I missed the damn all by like a number. And then it resets. They let you buy back up. So if I hit a side and I start off at min, like $5, I immediately, buy back and press it. For some reason, this day, normally I would just go to like 10 to press it, but I went straight to 25, which is the max for them. So went ahead and did that. And I want to say I didn't hit it again that second time, but this time, other guy after me, he still passed the dice. So then it gets around the regular, and he wanted to pass the dice, back to me. So this was the time it started, this monster roll, that I had. I want to say I counted 5 or 6 stick changes. The time felt like it just like flew by. But I do remember when I was like, 45 minutes into it, messaging the Discord saying, damn, I just hit 2 ATSs. So I was on a monster roll, hit the ATS, and I actually had and used a coupon on it. So if everybody knows, you get free play. I had a 20 coupon on there, which I've been trying to get for like forever. And I wasted like, the day before, like 800 in coupons and never hit, any of them. And then I finally got one, which, paid off. So you guys know how much that pays. This is the higher amount for the ATS. So it was like 175, 176. And I want to say I did have the sides pressed up. I didn't start at just a nickel. I thought I had it pressed up already. But anyway, I hit it once. So I immediately pressed my sides to 25 and put the dealers on, so every single time I have the dealers on, on all the bonus bets, the fire bet, I always put them on when I'm shooting. So they made out, and then I couldn't believe it. We're hitting numbers, and I hit another tall, and I'm like, holy shit, and then when it got down to like one number left on the small, and when that hit, the table just like exploded. I was just like, holy shit, I just hit that 2 times in the same roll. So now we buy back up on the same thing. I put 25s on the ends, put the dealers on this time for a nickel each. And we're going for the third ATS. Suffice it to say, I hit another tall, which was good. And so I hit the tall a third time, reset, went back up another quarter, and we were working on, trying to get the fourth tall and still the small for the third time. I didn't get it for that time because I think I reset it. I ended up resetting it on a come out. But during this roll, we actually, we were hitting points, and, I noticed I'm lighting up the, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. We get the 4 point fire, and I'm like, holy shit. And then I actually lit up the 5th point, and I was like, damn, and then we actually hit that. So I was already guaranteed, 5 point fire. And I'm not sure how many repeaters we had, but I know I repeated numbers. When I show this spreadsheet of like what my press schedule was, some of it wasn't even normal. I don't even know why I was even pressing like lower than I normally do, especially on the 4 and 10. I normally just double up right away, but for some reason today, that day, I didn't press it like I normally do on the 4 and 10, which would have meant I would have been a lot higher. But I'll show you that shortly here in the spreadsheet. So I know when I go back to play, I want to find out if anybody knows how many points I actually hit, because on the spreadsheet, I only put down 2 that I repeated, but I have a feeling it was more. It felt like I hit every number, twice for a point. So the last number I needed was an 8 for the 6-point fire. So, like I said, practicing the tournament and stuff like that, I used a set that I knew was gonna, should hit me an 8, and I want to say I even hopped it because I knew I was going for it, on the come out roll, and sure enough, I hit a 8, a 5-3. And the set I was using, it was a hard way set. It was 5-3, 5-3, and nailed it. I couldn't believe it. So, we're on the 6-point fire, and I remember some guys walking up at the corner, and they bought in just before I actually lit the 6-point fire. And I was like, damn, so they bought in. I saw where they put their chips. I kind of walked over there just to ask them if they can move their chips because they were kind of like where I wanted to toss the dice. And of course, one of them kind of had an attitude and, said something, and I basically just walked away. Even the dealers and some of the players were kind of like telling him, oh man, he's on this monster roll, just get your chips out of the way. And he didn't do it. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen him before. So I wouldn't say he was a cooler, but you would think, if everybody's telling you that there's this monster roll happening, you get your chips out of the way. So, Ricky Lee's out there. What's up? And Fuzzy's asking, did I lay the 8? Yeah, of course I laid the 8 because I was going to win 5K. And, after the guys the 2 guys bought in and didn't, want to cooperate, I guess. Alfredo's asking, bets off. I actually thought about turning my bets off, and I said, screw it. I'm going to fight through it. So I didn't 7 out like right away. I mean, I actually, hit a few more numbers before actually 7ing out. But yeah, it was probably like 3 or 4 rolls after that. 7'd out. And I couldn't believe I started out this roll with going 64 across. So it was a $10 minimum table. So I bet 4 through 10, 64 across, and I was working. So I worked it. And that whole roll, like I said, I'm going to show you this, how I pressed it up. And I couldn't believe, I counted, almost 15K left out there on the felt. But we'll show you that. And Alfredo's saying, did you lay 2,100? I actually gave him 2,000, and then, because I would have laid it for whatever. I had money in my rack, so I would have laid it for whatever. But, I said, what's going to make it proper? Because I gave him 2K. And then they basically said, do 1950 or something and win 1,800 or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll be happy with whatever. So I left it at just a 2,000 or whatever. I handed them, and I think they, laid it for 1950, which worked out because for sure, I still wanted to guarantee a little bit of something. Plus, on top of that, another, 1250 for the 5-point fire. So this roll was incredible because if I hit that 6-point fire, it would have been like my ultimate dream. I've been trying to hit the 6-point fire and the full ATS on the same roll. And I came, I've come close before where I've hit the ATS, one time and then got to the 5-point fire, but say I didn't light up the 6th. So this is the first time I actually had it lit up for the 6-point fire. And man, I wish I hit it. They were ready to pay it too. They were getting ready. All the suits are out and everything. And they were getting ready. So if you know my casino, like I said, they start out, the bank doesn't have any banana chips out there. So we were emptying out the bank. I mean, it was dust circles. They started, getting chips from players, to color up, chips. Because they were just about to do a chip fill with banana chips. Because I had so much money out there, I was just going to keep going. I wasn't going to stop. And, the dealers were telling me, wow, that's going to be the first time they see, that they're going to pull out the banana chips to start, paying out. So unfortunately, while they actually had it in hand, that's when I 7'd out, a few rolls after the guys that bought in and stuff like that. So, I probably should have turned off, in hindsight, after they bought in. And at first I thought they bought in while the puck was on, but then the pit boss told me, no, the puck was off. I was like, oh, okay. Because I was going to snap, that they let them buy in, during that. But they assured me that the puck was off. So it was when I hit the point. So anyway, I'll go ahead and show you this spreadsheet. And like I said, I did it conservative because part of me, I know at one point I counted almost 15K out there that I had. But so I'm not too sure. I know for sure certain bets that I had out there, where they were at for sure. The 4 and 10, those ones I kind of questioned where they were at, but let me show you that. So, yep, Alfredo said, laid, yep, paid 1,800 plus 1,250, pays more than taxes on 5K. Yeah, so that is the thing. Luckily, I laid it, and part of me didn't want to hit it because of the taxes. I knew right away that would have sucked. So we're glad that didn't happen. All right, let me see if I can make this bigger here. All right. So let me move this. Oh, it won't let me move my damn video. All right, I'll take my video off for now. All right, so just to start off, like I said, I bet all the numbers and only had 64 across over here to start. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't double up the 4 and 10s like I normally do. For some reason, as soon as I got to 100, I doubled it up. And once I got to 200, I started putting. So I started putting my bets. And normally, once it hits again, I go straight to double up and not look back. But for some reason, I didn't do it. I don't know if it was just because I wanted to rack more at the time. I think that's what my mentality was let me rack some more in my rack. So put it for 200, went to 300, and then went to 500. And then at that point, that's when I doubled it up to 1K. I want to say I had 2K on it and didn't hit. that's actually why I have it highlighted, because I can't remember, but I want to say it was there at 2K. But for sure, I know the numbers I had and how I bet the progressions were for the 6 and 8. So, and I didn't power press like I know, like the guys I play with, they'll power press or add more. I didn't actually, because I don't actually like putting more to press it up. And I like to just use whatever the winnings were. So 6 and 8 for sure. I know I went from 20 or 12 to 24. So I didn't rack anything until it actually hit, at the 24 to get, and I pressed it up to 48, and then went right to, this is where I start making money, is actually going 60, 90, and then went to 120, 180. When I got to 180, I actually thought about doing, drop 30 and go straight to 420 or whatever Ed does for roll to win. Part of me thought that, and I was just like, let me just keep going. I'll press it up a little bit and try to rack more. So that's what my mentality was instead of, racking less, I'd be racking more than what I press. But once I got it to 300, I started putting the 6 and 8. And normally, again, just like the 4 and 10, I'm not sure why at 300 I didn't go, straight to 600. For some reason, I just wanted to rack. So I only went in $100 increments. Basically treating it like when it was the lower numbers. So when it was at 60, went to 600 and then jumped to 900. So it's basically just adding a zero. I didn't even think about it. I just wanted to just keep going. Yep, Alfredo is saying that was a slow press. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even for me, it was actually slow, but I'm not sure why, I decided to do that, that particular day, because normally I do press, harder there, which I'm fine with. I'm still satisfied. Chaz is out there. He's asking what was the final roll count. So unfortunately, no one's there to actually, nobody was writing it down or keeping track. Or, I even tried to ask the casino if they'd give me the roll count for it. So unfortunately, this is actually just the guesstimate. So saying if we hit the ladder here for the 4 and 10, both of those, just by the way I was pressing, would be, 18 rolls. 16 if I only had it to 1,000, but I know for sure I had that 10 at 2. I'm just not sure about the 4, but I know all of them were at 1,000. It's just the 4, 5, and the 9. Those 3 for sure. I'm not too sure if I had it at the 2,000, the 2K. So between the 5 and 9, that's 30 rolls, it looks like, to get there. Yeah, 30 or 32. So it depends on, what I count. I'm definitely going to ask the dealers because we were rolling so long. I wasn't paying attention. And after a while, I'm just like, press it up and collecting. And I actually think there was a few times I didn't press it and just said keep it the same. So there was rolls in there, I think, that would have actually been more. So on top of those, so these presses were only when, it wasn't on the come out roll. It was all straight, point established. That's what I'm counting because that's when I was pressing them up. And I did keep all my bets out there. And that's one of the reasons I keep it out there, even when the puck, the point is a 5 or whatever. I leave my bets out there just for this reason, so I can, know where I'm at for the presses. So I'm counting actually. I know I hit 5-point fire hit, for sure. So that's 5 rolls for to come out, and then 5 rolls just to hit it. So that's already adding up to 10. And I'm really saying this repeat of hitting 2 points like conservative, because I'm pretty sure I hit more than that, but that would add another 4 rolls. So the guesstimate that I'm seeing is just under or over 100 rolls. I mean, that's why I wanted to do this live, because I was like, that's incredible. I'm like, I can't believe that, that it went on for that. But I'm definitely thankful for it. It was good to play again. And like I said, I attribute those last 2 days to the practicing and doing the tournament, because for these 2 days, I didn't stick with the same dice set. It was, as soon as I hit a point on whatever specific set I was using, I set for like that number, basically based off of, my practicing for the tournament and playing in the tournament. I started, using the numbers I saw myself getting to hit the numbers. So we were definitely hitting points, and that's what we want to do, because to me, I think the fire bet is the hardest bet that you can get or achieve, on the actual craps table. The ATS is hard, but it definitely hits more frequent than, the fire bet. The repeater bets, those are hard too, but they do hit more frequent than the fire bet. And then, the other one I've played was, I think someone called it sharpshooter, where that one is actually where I based it off of, like the tournament, is where it paid out. It had all the different combinations for 4 through 10, and it started paying out if you hit 3 combinations, and the max bet on that was 5. And when I saw that, I was like, why isn't more people playing it? Because when I first saw it, it was in was it Laughlin? I want to say it was Laughlin, Golden Nugget, and they had a short table. It was pretty short, definitely under 12 foot. They may have considered it 12, but it felt like 10, like a baby table. But yeah, there was only me and one regular that was constantly playing that bet. And I'm like, what the hell? Because I watched us, rolling, and we were hitting it like almost every roll we had. So I was like, why isn't anybody playing it? They did tell me that, we'll probably see it in more places. I don't know how long it's been out, but I haven't seen that bet anywhere else. I want to say Clay said it was on the East Coast, or they had it in the East Coast before. Said he sent he's seen it before. All right. Oh, Lisa's out there. Craps meow. Yeah, this one, I mean, it was crazy. So at the end of it, I want to say, let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was either 8 or 9 people at the table with me by the time I was done. The guy next to me, he told me he just lost his job. He bought in for $140, and he walked away with over $3K. And I was happy for him. He was, thanking me and all that stuff, and I told him, hey man, I'm just glad we all made money. I did get a tip from someone, which I appreciate. I mean, I wasn't expecting it because we were all making money, so we didn't mind. There was one guy. He basically said, after he saw the one guy tip me, he said, I'm not going to tip you. You made a hell of a lot more than I did. And to tell you the truth, I can't believe it because, like I said, I'm the low roller at the table. My buy-in's small. And when I was looking at the table and all the bets out there, nobody had bets as high as mine. And I was really surprised, especially with some of the regulars that buy in big. I mean, I don't know if they were just scared to press, but I didn't see their bets to where it could have been. But they all made out. So, I mean, whatever each player decides to do on their own, it's, I see it as whatever you decide. To me, I try to make it automatic. I know, like Alfredo was saying, this is actually a slow press, and it was. I really don't know why I wasn't pressing like I normally do, but I know it could have been more, but it also I could have regressed too. I should have listened to myself and regressed when I saw those 2 guys buy in. That would have been the time, and I would have saved myself a lot. But next time, live and learn. Yeah, I know they'll be talking about it for days because, I basically hammered them 2 days in a row in a short period of time. So, and I'll tell you what, all the years I've been playing, I've seen it to where, players hammer 1 or 2 numbers, but I've never seen it where, where all the numbers were hammered to a point where, where I had all my bets pressed up almost, the same amount. So this one's probably, it's definitely a first for me to actually, get all the numbers up there like that, to that amount. Cause I know I've done it to where, like I said, I've done it the same where I've seen other people where you're hammering just a couple numbers and then your other numbers are like nowhere near it. But this was definitely different. And like I said, I'm probably not going to change the way I'm rolling like the last 2 days, because, like I said, for some reason my mindset kind of changed on just using the same dice set. I mean, I have used the same dice set for just the same roll and never changed, or I would only change it on like the come out roll. But this was different. I was actually thinking about, hey, I need a 10, and for the point or whatever, and I would just set it to what I see myself hitting with a set for the 10. So I would stick with that set until it hammered the 10. And then, once I established another point, once it was a different number, I did the same thing, actually, and just switched it to what I was seeing my dice or my rolls, would hit. I do want to say I mainly used all hardware sets. I didn't use any like V sets or anything like that. It was strictly hardware sets to hit all those numbers for me, because I know like most of mine were, most people would consider it was still primary, but just one die off. So that's why when I needed the 8 for the 6 point, I set the 5-3-5-3, because I knew one die was just going off, just constant for what they say is a single pitch. So that's a big reason. Yeah. So let's see. Good question. Eggs is saying. Let me scroll up here. What did they say about the put bets? Alfredo says, hope your boss ain't watching. No, I didn't call in sick. It was a scheduled day off. So no worries there. Yeah, definitely should have turned the bets off. And we did lay. So Chris Demon Dog's out there. Yep. All right, Elise says, I don't understand the put bets, but guess it's good to learn. So the reason why I started putting it is, especially once I got the 200, the reason I started putting it is that way, on the come out roll, I would still get paid. I would get paid, whatever the put was, just to keep getting paid on every single roll, basically. So I was hitting hard ways too. I started those at $1, and as soon as I hit one, I parlayed it. And there was a few times I hit the parlays, which was nice. I didn't get them up to like where I've had them as high, but I got them up there a little bit, and it still helped out like when I hit them. And again, I had dealers on there, so they were making money on that. I did also do my inside easy bets. And that may have helped me out a lot too in the early part, because I was hammering inside numbers, and I started those out at a nickel each, 20 inside, and I always full press it. So it went from 20 to 40, and then I kind of got scared. I didn't want to press it past that. So I would just leave it up 40 and take down 40. There was a couple times I did press it up, up to 80. And then when I was raking in the dough, I actually started putting it out there for 25 a piece and got that a couple times. But yeah, part of me wishes I played that a little bit better. But it's always hindsight. If I played it normal, like I would like to play it, because I was talking to dealers there, and I told him, I said, I was practicing those to hit it 6 in a row. I said, if I could hit it 6 in a row and just keep full pressing until that 6 hit, then I'm making bank. But for some reason, as I've practiced that, the magic number for me is 2 hits. So full press it and then hit it again, and then just keep repeating that. Normally I'll keep it at the 2 hits and then just stay there and just keep collecting, is what I liked. All right. And Alex is asking, how did you stay focused during the roll? Were you talking to other people or staying quiet? No, I was talking the whole time. Once the dice got to me, then, I just set it like I normally do, what I wanted, and let the dice fly. Because we all know once it leaves our hands, it could be whatever. But for some reason, those 2 days, and on different tables, I didn't change the way I tossed or anything. And I want to say between those 2 days, I didn't have one short roll, which is why I was surprised, because once I saw a bunch of people coloring up, after my monster roll, I thought about coloring up too. I remember walking away to go use the restroom, and I was thinking I was going to come back to an empty table. That was the hope. But I actually got back, and the table filled up with new people. So once I saw that, I said it's time to color up. The good thing is the dealer, one of the dealers brought me a tray, a chip tray. I was like, oh, great, perfect. I didn't know how I was going to carry this stuff to the cage. So that was good. But yeah, definitely once you get on a roll, that's the key. Is I want to say everything was moving good. Nobody was. There was still center action and stuff like that and bets, but the dice were moving, good. Everybody else had their bets out there. There wasn't anybody arguing or fighting about, wrong bets or anything like that. All right. Knowing how to bet is the key with rolls like that. It takes money to make money. Yeah. So even though I wasn't pressing like I normally do, it still made out. I was surprised at how high I got those chips there, and the dealers actually said the same thing. They said, I can't believe you got your bets that high. And then I said, I'm surprised the other people weren't there or, higher up than I was, because I know how much they buy in for. And I saw they were pressing and stuff like that, but I was just surprised it wasn't as high. If they were betting and got the, banana chip level, then for sure they would already had the banana chips out there, but they weren't betting like that. I do know if any of Alfredo or Fuzzy or Ben, any of the guys that I know, can bet, Corey, we all would have made some money. Actually, if they were there, I probably wouldn't have did the slow pressing. I would have been pressing like I normally do. And Bags is saying, did you ever get any heat from the boxman on taking too long to set and throw? No, not at all. I don't take too long. I usually know what set I want, and it's out of my hand as soon as I touch the dice. So I don't, do like most people where you're actually hanging onto the dice, for a while. I actually hover over the dice, and once I touch the dice, it's gone. I don't even take the time to, make sure that my fingers are in the right spot. I usually know as soon as I pick it up, it's, where I want it to be. So what was the come out 7 split or double pitch? So the point was a 8, and I set the 5-3, to try to hit it, but like I said, I didn't 7 out like right away. So I was still hitting numbers, but when it did 7 out, I want to say it was a 6-1. So it was both die like off. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what happened. Yeah, 20 times odds. Yeah. And then they would always tell me, oh, don't forget about your odds. And I tell them, oh, I still have it placed, so I'd still put a little bit on the odds, but I never went full 20 times. And I don't think I saw any of the players going full odds. But if they did, or if I did, we would have racked in a lot more because of how many points. And like I said, I'm being conservative of hitting, 7 points, but I have a feeling I hit them all like twice, and a couple might be 3. All right. Fredo said no vig. What was the table max? So that's why I can't ever reach table max, because I start so low. The table max there, 10K. So 20 times odds and 10,000. So unless I start out with my bets at a black chip level, I won't hit that unless I get another monster roll like this one. Yeah, most of the casinos out here are 10K, 25K max. So I never hit that. When I'm in the cruise ships, the 500 max, I hit that all the time. That's like nothing. Yeah, Alfredo's right, 10K. Yep, Trey's out there, Two Wheel Paradise. Said fantastic win. Yeah, I did post it on Discord. And like I said, I wasn't even planning on doing a video until I realized I wanted to know what the roll count was. And based off, how I was pressing, I got a good estimate. So I definitely will say, this is the longest roll that I know of, because I have had, where I've had 2.5 hour roll at other casinos, and rolled for a long time, but it's different to have a long roll when the table's packed. So when I had that 2.5 hour roll, the table was packed. I mean, sardines packed. And it's interesting. So that time I never changed the dice set. I stuck with one hardware set, and that was my set for everything. The come out roll for that whole 2.5 hours, and never set it or never changed the set. So that's where most of my long rolls over the years after that is where I would stay with the same set usually. But now I'm starting to change my mindset. I mean, I'm not going to change it every roll, but when there's certain things I want to try to hit is when I'm going to change the sets. And like I said, it worked out for these 2 days, and I'm not going to change the way I'm actually doing it, because I was finding even after this long roll, I actually left. I left, because it was packed or whatever. It got packed, so I left and went to eat and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck, talking to myself. I'm like, man, I haven't rolled bad in these last 2 days. And I was still like itching to play. So I went back because I figured, hey, let me see if this table's still packed. So went back, and sure enough, it was not. There was 3 people at the table, and they were regulars. And one of the regulars had the spot I wanted. So I just went, sat down by the bubble craps machine and just put in $100 to play, just to waste some time. And then by that time, the dealers were telling the regular, about my roll earlier. And then they kind of looked over and said, hey, you going to jump in? I was like, yeah, I'm waiting for a spot to free up. And then the regular said, I'll give you your spot. So I'm like, all right, so I buy in for a couple $100 and, get my roll. And I couldn't believe it. I was still rolling good. I basically hit the tall. So this would have been the 4th time I hit the tall. And, couldn't hit the small again for some reason. But it did reset again, the tall. So I went straight to a quarter on that again. And to my surprise, I hit the tall again with 25 on it. I was like, holy shit, But after that, I was like, man, I'm not going to press my luck. I think I got my fix on, and, left up again, with just a 200 buy-in. And that's how I like to play. So if anybody knows me, they see that I'll buy in, for like $100. I have more in my pocket, but that's what I want to buy in for, because that's what I train myself of. Hey, buy in, bet it all on yourself. And, me, like I said, I always press, and then I don't want to rack anything until I get in the green chips as quick as possible. All right. Lisa's saying, just wondering, I find myself trying to hit numbers for the bonus bet when practicing, like I'm in Dice Duel. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that's kind of where my mindset changed, is playing that. So I kind of wanted to put it in the real life situation. Even though I'm not hitting or rolling for a specific combination, I knew which sets were going to hit me, like, an 8 or a 10, and just stuck with it until that number hit, because I knew, that set would be more dominant, like in that number, at least for my roll. So that's good. Alfredo says, it helps. I've hit 4 alls in my past 4 days of playing, including each live. Each day sniping numbers with hardway sets and V sets. Yep. Yeah, so as you practice, that's what you hope for, is to see what you're getting. So, question from Alfredo, what are you buying? You normally spend 50% of what you win. on you or something. Yeah. So everybody that knows me, anytime I win, I'll put 50% for bankroll and the other 50 on whatever. So this time I put some in savings and paid off some credit card debt, paid those off. So it's safe to say I'm debt free except for my house. Yeah. So we won't say how much, we actually won, but it was a good amount. So like I said, usually if I was doing my other way to press, I probably would have left more out there than what I have in my rack. So I think that's a good thing that I was betting the way I did, because I actually put more in my rack than I had on the felt, when normally it's the other way around. If I went with the pressing progression that I normally do. All right. But just wanted to put it out there because I told my wife I'll probably never get a roll like that again. Now part of me wants to keep track of my damn rolls when I'm at the table, because I want to know, like the exact number. So unfortunately, I don't know the exact number on this one, but I know it's either it's close. It's close to that 100 mark. Man, I just wish the casino would give it to me, or at least let me know what the roll count was. Yep, they said congratulations. Yeah, so that's incredible. I just need to go back, like my wife was saying. Before I started doing like the meetups and things like that, I was consistently, in the green. It's only when I started doing, meeting up with people and stuff like that is when, my bankroll and stuff like that wasn't where I'd like it to be. It wasn't keeping up. Some people it works out for them doing all those meetups, but me, I was used to going solo for years. So even though, I know all the regulars and stuff like that, I'm not, there. I didn't plan to meet up with them or nothing like that. It's just I see them there. We don't really like, I don't go out to lunch or anything with any of the regulars. So even though I see them there, I consider it as, hey, I went there by myself. I'm going solo. My wife wants me to go back to that mentality. Even when I was betting on the regulars that were there, I didn't do, like the across betting or anything like that. I picked and chose who I was going to bet the bonus stuff on, which is what I told myself. There's certain people that I know that I've seen do it many times, and those are the guys I'm gonna bet on. Unless I have a feeling. Sometimes I have a feeling and I'm like, I'm just gonna bet on this guy and try him out, and sometimes you get lucky on that. All right, Winfield's out there, Mr. Yo. This is great video. Yeah, like I said, most people they're not going to see rolls like that. I mean, I've had long rolls, but I haven't had long rolls to where I had all my bets, pressed up like that. And when I see it like that, and knowing that I started at minimum, that makes me feel good, because then that means all the practice and things like that are paying off, and just making smarter decisions at the table. Yep, Alfredo. Yep, talking about meetups because it does get everybody. Bigger meetups can be brutal. Just you and I made thousands. Yeah, the first time I met up with Alfredo, it was just me and him. I'm fine with just like one or two people, but as soon as it's like these big meetups and you're going somewhere, it's like, man, I think I just kind of lost it like on those because I see or I know that there's other people like me that have a table and practice. So, and then you see it live or, they're on their YouTube or whatnot. So that's where I started betting on them. Like I bet on myself and it doesn't work out, that's kind of, it doesn't work out if you have a small bankroll. Let's put it that way. Because me, I'm used to going with a certain amount and betting on myself. I'll bet it all on myself because I trust myself. But when you start doing that with other people and you don't have the bankroll, it's going to eat you alive. It'll dwindle your bankroll that you had saved up quick, which it did to me. And we just got to start over. Yeah, several times before we expanded. Yeah. And I've always talked about it and I always knew it. I just can't bet the way I do on other people like I want to bet on myself. And I think that's with most people, most of us that practice or shoot or play a lot, you're always going to bet more on yourself, than you do on other people. So that's where my mentality is going to be. And, I'm just going to change the way I play to play a little smarter. And sometimes, you don't have to bet. You don't have to bet on somebody if you don't want to. So take that into consideration. And bags. Did you have a security escort you? No. The answer is no. If I ever felt like I needed security to, walk me out, I would, or I would just leave some of the money there. Let them keep it, to where I can just leave it there and play whenever I want it or something like that. So we'll see. All right. What's amazing is the minimum bets, 65 to start and taking that. Yeah. And Alfredo, is telling the truth. Yep, bonus will eat you alive. So if you bet that on everybody, it's a slow bleed no matter how you do it. Or it could be quicker because if people have all those come out sevens and you don't have it hedged, then you're just betting more and you're just throwing away money. All right. Yep. Yeah. Yep. 64 across. Yeah. And that's what I always told my wife. Because she used to tell me like, oh, I'm not impressed when she sees like somebody buy in with like a lot of money. She mainly says she's impressed when somebody can buy in low and win a lot. And that's always my mentality too, is I wanted to buy in low and most people say, oh, 20% is what they want their win goal. My win goal is I want 100%, or I want the big win, on little money. That's the way my mentality is. Even though like this, like now that I got my bankroll built back up, I'm not going to play like where I'm buying in for more or anything like that. I'm gonna stay doing what I do and hope for these big wins. Because me, I like to double my money plus. So and some people say, oh, they don't play for the bonus bets or anything like that. I'm playing for that every time. Every time I roll, I'm betting the ATS, the fire bet. If they had repeaters here, I mean, I keep trying to get them to get repeaters or a crapless table here. And I would bet that every time on myself. Because the way I see it is I know I can hit all those numbers. I've done it. I've, done it many times at different casinos. Even some, I've only been to a handful of times. So that's the main reason. I'll always bet it on myself, and I'll always put the dealers up. All right. Steve, you seem like a very genuine, humble person. He said when he throws up, hey, I want to be like you. Yeah. Alfredo, leave 500 to 1,000 plus is nice, but leave after a big roll. Yeah. So that's what I was hoping for. When I went to go take a break or go to use the restroom, because I saw people were coloring up. The ones that were in the big roll, they were already coloring up. So my hope was, I hope they're gone. Or I hope the table's empty again. Because for me, I don't actually want to leave a table until I roll bad. And bad is I'm not hitting double digits. Because if I'm hitting double digits, I'm making money. But again, we also don't like playing on a packed table because it's going to be hours. It could take hours before you get the dice again. So, all right. Agree with Bags. Karma was good to you. Thanks for all you do. I know a dice duel tournament took a lot of your time. Yeah, it did, but it was good too because it kept me away from the casino until I was actually ready. And it's nice to see how everybody else is, play it to get their combinations. Unfortunately, I was hoping people would in the tournament like specify what sets they were using, because if they did that the whole time, I kept track of all the roll history and everything like that, and it would have narrowed it down. I would have liked to see, if all of us doing different sets or ending up using the same set, if it was gonna give us the same like combinations, Unfortunately, I know once it starts getting closer towards, further into the tournament, I could understand it as being like an advantage that you don't want to say what dice set you're using, because somebody can try your set and to get the number they need. I guess. Is I guess what kind of happened there, but it would have been nice for it to analyze it. I did actually have AI analyze what I did have, but not like specific sets, but at least like the combinations. And it, even though most of us were setting and stuff like that, it still gave the average curve. Let's just say none of the other numbers were really like getting past the actual pyramid of the odds. All right. So Trey's asking, was your plan to be at table for a specific time span or when things get cold? So, yeah, my plan was actually, like I said, I'll stay. If I'm rolling good, I'll stay. But, once it got too packed, it's just so hard, so hard to wait, because that's the time you want to bet and things like that in between. I'm sure if I stayed on the packed table, I still would have bet, just not as much or not too much, even though I made out good. But normally when I'm rolling good, I don't want to leave until like that. I don't hit double digits. Once I don't hit double digits, then I know it's time to go. I've extended my stay, basically. We just heard that it is to the moon. Double buy-in. Yeah. We like to double up, or more. So that's my mentality. I go there with a certain amount, and if I can't figure it out within that amount, it's time for me to walk away. But I'm actually willing to lose that amount. So that's why I know a lot of people say, "Oh, don't leave," empty. Which is good, even if you left with like $20 or whatever, I'm not like that. I planned on going there with, my specific amount, and my goal is to win more than that. But I'm not afraid to lose it. That's the case for me. But as soon as I get to it, it's time to walk away. There have been times when I'm meeting up with the people, with other people, and I didn't stick to that. There was times, and it's a no-no. There was times I hit my limit of what I normally would go if I was solo, and ended up buying back in. Let's just say I don't take markers, but there were several times at meetups where I would buy back in, and that's a no-no. I'm going to stick to my normal solo play. So that's why they're going to start seeing me like if I hit my limit, I'm out of there. We're going to walk away. Even though part of me wants to hang out and do all that stuff, go out to eat and all that. Nope, I'm going to stick to my guns. All right. Well, we were kind of hoping other people would jump on and talk live like Fuzzy, because I know him and Ben had their monster rolls. And, I think I was talking to them and Alfredo, and I said, man, I need one of those rolls. And sure enough, finally got one where it worked out. But my mentality, like I said, it changed. So I'm going to try to keep this up and see where it goes. It's just so hard to like keep track at the table while you're rolling. If they actually let me do it with my phone, then that's fine, because I have an app and I can just hit the button. We'll see. I just wish there was a way they can give me like a way to track where I can do it quick. I mean, I've done it before where I tried the pen and paper, and it's like, then you're wasting time and you get out of your rhythm and all that crap. Oh, Fuzzy's there. He says, didn't want to diminish your accomplishment. Oh, Alfredo said, where's the link? Oh, the link was actually at the top. I probably didn't pin it. There you go. If you wanted to jump in. Let's see, Alfredo said, great job. We know it was a big role. Yeah. And that's where part of it, you know, I know there's going to be people that don't believe it. But I know there was people there, and I know the casino, you know, the crew, even that, I was telling the dealers, I said, make sure you tell the other dealers who made all that money for you. Because we definitely made them quite a bit. All right. Tell them, give you the footage. Oh, I wish it was that easy. I mean, I don't doubt that they're watching it. Because, you know, we've all had it where you get on the long roll, or, you know, the bonus is about to hit, or the 6-point fire or something, and a lot of the suits come out to watch. So, you know, that's what happened. That would have been the ultimate, though, if I hit that 6-point. I was still kicking myself. I should have just turned my bets off or regress and then just go for it. Yeah. And Trey said, question, you commented about tracking rolls. I would think adding this to your normal in-home play, paper log distraction. Yeah. I mean, I've tried it to where I've actually done that and had a little notebook and wrote down. But it does kind of take your focus away if you're the shooter. So even if I was able to use like my phone for the app and just hit a button, that might not take as much of a distraction, you know, away from your shooting. But man, I would have loved to see all the numbers that I hit. Yeah, Alfredo says, we know how you bet. Yeah, I was betting too low. Man, I wish I started that bet at, you know, 160 across, but we never know. Giuseppe still gets mistaken for me because of my 66 roller. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because like I said, I mean, the dealers, I mean, usually if you get rolls like that, the regulars are going to hear about it pretty quick. You know, I mean, I hear about it when there's long rolls and stuff like that. So I'm sure they'll see it. Have Crapsy running on your phone below on the drink rail. Enter your rolls. Yeah, that might be a little bit harder. Like I said, I have a couple apps that actually would track it better, even better than Crapsy even, which would be actually quicker. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, that's all I wanted to kind of bring up. I wasn't expecting to be on this long, but I will show what that press schedule was again that I had. Just in case anybody was wondering. So, and like I said, I was just counting the rolls of where, you know, my bets ended up being at. And I know there was rolls in between. I didn't press and just did same bet, but it is what it is. We'll keep it at that. Yep. Joe's out there. Craps Master Journey. What's up? Yeah. So, if you're ever on a table where somebody's on a monster, you got to be ready for it. Because, like I said, for some reason, I see it at the table all the time where a long roll happens and they don't, the players at the table don't capitalize. And it's kind of sad. Kind of sad to see, actually. Hey, what's up, Alfredo?
For fuck's sake, you only had your 6 what? Dude, that many hits, you should have had your 6 so much higher.
Oh, trust me.
If any of us were there, you would have been competing.
Oh, yeah, we all would have been up there.
Yeah, I know.
Because my bets are usually 60. 60% is usually what I have out there, and then my rack's usually 40.
If you think about it, like how well you did the day before, right? And then you sort of
took that mentality
into the next day. It allowed you to be a little more free in your ability to be able to seek out the bonus. I mean, it's amazing to hit two alls in one roll. It's hard enough to hit one, but the 5-point fire, like you said, it is a lot harder to hit. So, so
you rarely see it. You rarely see it hit. I mean, I know when I'm at the table, I that's definitely rare. I mean, I've seen regulars hit it, but I haven't really seen where it was like back to back like that. Because the one guy hit the 5-point fire, and then he actually left the table, and then I hit it again. So unfortunately, he wasn't there at the table, to see the other 5-point fire.
When it's back to back too, you're making so much more money on the ATS on everything because of that. So,
yeah. Ricky's asking, was it the same table Alfredo rolled? So when you rolled the 66, it was that first front table, right? Yeah, the main table. Yeah. So mine was the back table the second day. The first day was where you rolled that 66 roller.
Yeah.
Is where I hit the 5-point fire. And like I said, I was hitting sides. I just couldn't get the full ATS that day, the first day. But yeah, the second day, I mean, I couldn't believe it. When every time I got the dice, it was like, fuck, double digits. That's when I was
getting
like,
double-digit rolls, and you're there for a little while already. Have up money, you start making a lot more money. I think like Fuzzy talked about it, and I know he said he didn't want to jump on because he didn't want to diminish your accomplishment. Your accomplishment is amazing because you did that. You did that without anyone sort of pushing you, right? Like him and Ben.
Yeah, they were together. So
and they went back to back, and so Fuzzy had a monster roll, and then Ben had a really great roll following it up, and he almost made, he made more per hit than he did on the first one by like a ×3 because he was in a, he
was able to focus on his betting
at that point, right? And he didn't care.
Yeah. Because usually when you're the shooter, if you're not making it automatic or you don't have anybody else there that's kind of like pushing you because they're betting more, it's tough. But even though I was betting less, I was still making it automatic, though.
No, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like that's the way I would bet initially on a table when I'm alone. I'm gonna bet. I probably would have did like instead of the 30 press, a 60 press at some point, and then go to 90 press right as you climb. But there's nothing wrong with that because you made it a healthy amount from the bonus. you know, what I was amazed at, and I don't know, did you do that when you hit the bonus? Did you add a little bit to your bets? Like after hitting a couple numbers, did you take some out of
Nope.
the rack and just add a little bit? No. See, now that's something
Nope.
I would have done. And
I
I don't
racked
know,
it
like
and
that's
just
like
kept
the
on
greedy
going.
person in me. Like if I've hit an all and I have, you know, an extra several thousand, I'm probably gonna use about 150 or 300 of that and sort of
Well, that's
sprinkle
what
it across.
the stick person, when he was talking to me about the like my hard ways.
Hmm.
You know, I started off $1 parlayed, and then I'd press it up, but I didn't like parlay it again. Because he was like, "Holy shit, you hit it again! You should have
Yeah.
parlayed it." And I was just like, "Yeah, when I get greedy, I don't hit it." You know,
That is
so
true. Sometimes when you
it's
start
better.
even high, it's like you could be pressed up to a very high level, but you've got there from hitting the numbers and be
Yeah,
comfortable with it. But you start 330 inside, and now all of a sudden you're like fearing a PSO or something like that, and it happens, and you're just like, "Fuck! I shouldn't have done that." Like I make more money when I bet 110 inside, which you know it's
yeah,
not like you have to get over. It's I kin it to the first time you ever win a bet at 1,000. Like the first few times you lose that bet, you're like, why am I betting that? Right? Like I should bet 800 or I should bet whatever. And then you win it, and then you're like, oh, okay, that isn't a scary thing. Fuck,
yeah,
it pays a lot. And then you desensitize yourself from the fear of it.
yeah. And that's what I still stuck with.
Yeah.
Even though I had money in my rack, I wasn't going, 160. I was still starting at 64 and just,
Yeah.
working my come out and everything. Yeah.
Whatever
Once I got
keeps you
my bets out
comfortable,
there.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the opportunity cost. You did all the right things. The
But it was
magic of
definitely
being
the
able to,
easies too. The
yeah.
easies I
Oh,
was betting.
you
It,
will press those
I
up. I know
couldn't believe it.
that.
Well, no, I didn't have it pressed up like I should. Even after I was hammering them, like, even the dealer was like, "Man, how much did you have that up to?" Because he thought I'd have it pressed up too. And for some reason, I just wasn't. I stopped at the 2, and then I just said, just keep it the same and keep
Yeah.
giving it to me. I mean, that bet alone had to have been out there for quite a while before, you know, it went down. And then when it went down, I would just go back up another 20 and then, double full press it again and did the same thing and double it up. So
Well,
part of me,
I can say like 100%. You know, you sharing this story, we know that it's real because we know how you buy in. We know how you bet. There's a lot of us that play with you, and
oh
for you
yeah,
to be able to get to those numbers, there's no way you don't have a ginormous monster roll to be able to achieve that. So kudos to you, man. I mean,
yeah.
that's
That's
amazing.
why, that's why I couldn't believe it when I started. I was like, man, I'm
You
curious on how
had to
much
be a long
rolls.
ass
So
roll.
I'm like, what the hell, you know? Well, I knew it was quite a while because, like I said, I was
Yeah,
messaging the Discord when I hit the 2 alls. I think that's when I first did the message. I was like, holy shit, I hit 2 alls. I
nice.
couldn't believe it,
The coupon
and
on it,
then,
that 10 still haunts me. That wasn't
oh
hit that one
man,
time.
oh yeah, that, trust me,
Yeah.
that haunts me too because
None of us laid it. None
there
of
was a
us.
big meetup.
We all had a coupon on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a lot because everybody had
20
it.
on.
Yeah, at least
And I had
on
25 on the
all of it.
call because I had pressed it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I had that come out action.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to hit the 10 and I kept hammering the yos. I'm like, God damn it! I want to say that's when Corey was actually keeping track, and he said, "You hit 9 yos and 11 rolls or something," and I'm like, I'm trying to hit the 10 because that
Yeah,
was the perfect time. It was a come
we
out
were doing the
roll.
world bet, and then Fuzzy's like, "What is that?" And then he throws like a $20 horn, and next thing you know, he's at like a fucking $100
Oh,
horn. And
trust me, that's
what the hell's
that's
going
when I
on?
couldn't believe I was seeing you guys rack purple chips, and I'm like, holy fuck.
That was a fun little come up.
I got, because you guys were betting that where you guys press up all the inside action every
Press
time it
up.
hit.
Yeah,
And
every
I
time.
was like, that's when I asked, I'm like, what are you guys betting? Because when I saw you guys racking, you know, when I started seeing $500 chips, I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
I need to know what that bet
those are
is.
come out sequences. that
I
you-
still
that
do
you-
that at a lower scale because I don't
Yeah.
buy in like you guys, but I'm still gonna stay the same way I do it.
Stick to it. I mean,
But
here's the thing.
just-
I've said
just
it
to
the
let you
other day
know-
in Discord. There's so many people that love to go to meetups. Go to meetups. It's great. You meet great people. You can talk.
Oh yeah,
strategy, you can talk,
it's great.
talk dice and everything. Don't go there thinking you're going to win money. You may, and if you get a good session where you're up 1,000, up 2,000, get the fuck off the table. Especially if you're buying in for a couple hundred. And I don't mean it in a bad way, right?
Yeah.
You're buying in for $300 to $500, and you're up $1,000. Get off the table. Go join everyone at dinner later. Go watch a movie, do something, come back, because the reality of what typically is going to happen is you're going to be there for that one big roll. Maybe that gets you back to even. Maybe that gets you into the profit, and then you're going to stay there until you lose it all and probably some money in your pocket. Why?
Yeah.
Because
Time
dice
is the enemy.
time's the enemy, right? It's in favor of the casino, and most people, when's enough? Most people,
Yeah.
when are you satisfied, right? And you have to be satisfied. I was on the cruise ship on Royal Princess. I shot well almost every single day. I had one short roll, and I had to live going around the table, and everyone wanted to shoot. After about day 3 of winning my money back every time I shot, I said, "Fuck it, I'm done." Right? I was up $1,600 because I hit a side of the ATS and pounded the shit out of numbers early, and I gave it one more shooter. I said, if they make me some money, I'll continue to leverage what that money was. So I think the next shooter was a good shooter, and I put like 180 out there, and I got like $30 back. And I said, okay, I'm calling out. And I went and I played and lost a little bit at Hold'em, lost a little bit of slots, but I saved money because had I stood at the table, I would have lost a lot more. Came back later in the evening. Finally, for the first night, I shoot well. They actually passed the dice back to me. Well, all 3 times that they passed the dice back to me in the different days, and I'm not saying people have to do that. If you're there to enjoy your own thing and you want to shoot. That's fine, right? I'm either going to bet on you or not bet on you, depending on the outcome that you've done previously, right?
Well, that's what I was talking to my wife about.
And I actually backed it up with another double-digit roll. And then Giuseppe comes in. He hadn't shot well that night, but he saw me twice in a row. He's looking at where I'm landing. He was on the right side previously. He comes to the left side, and he shoots right after me, and he ends up hitting like 7 10s. And I made a lot more money on his roll than I did on my roll, even though both of my rolls were big. Because 7 10s, I mean, I hit it at 350, and I had it hopped for 15 each on the hard way and the regular, and I pressed it up to 500. I think the person next to me was at 7, which is where I should have been because I was at 350. Giuseppe was at 1,000, and we had made money on all the other rolls too. Like everything was black chip on there. I was happy to have that out there, so I still left like 800. No, way more than that. Like over 1,000 on the table, but I made over 2,000 on this roll. So yeah, it is what it is.
So that's what I was talking to my wife about. Is the thing with the meetups is because everybody's shooters, everybody wants to shoot.
Yeah.
So that's the tough part. But if you get the people that are there that are wanting to make money and they know somebody's a hot shooter, yeah, then get the dice back to them. Because I mean, even like before meeting up with you and stuff like that, I was telling you guys like, yeah, if the regulars see me that I'm rolling hot, they start passing.
I saw it the first time I ever met with you, right? We went up there. Yeah. Even at Rivers, they were passing it to you because you had locals there that knew who you were, right?
Because
and it went from you hitting the bonus, then they raised the bet. Then I go on a big roll, and they raised the minimum bet again.
But that's where they were screwing with us too.
Yeah.
That I've never seen. They were switching not one stick person.
Oh, they were switching
all the dealers.
That was like every 5
like
minutes.
They were switching the whole crew.
That was crazy.
Yeah, they were doing that on purpose.
Yeah, that was nice. There's a couple questions out there for you. Bag says, stick changes.
Well, Chaz says someone will set a new world record. Hey, trust me, that's what I hope for one day is hit that record. But the drawback is
because if
all these casinos they don't keep
time.
So how are you going to know?
If it's time, because that 66 roller literally was a 3 hour and 50 minutes to go. There's no way it should take you that long. Well, why did it take that long? I had 66% of my hits were in the field. 33% of my hits were a horn, and I had over 20% of them hardways. So center bets every single roll. They were throwing center bets in before they were paid out, and it was just nuts.
That's why, if you go by time, I know, on a full table, and I recorded it before where it was 33 rolls, and that took like an hour and a half because it was a full table. So, and then I've played where it was by myself and I got, 30 rolls and it done in 15 minutes.
Yeah, 17 minutes.
So you can't really go by the time. You got to go by number of rolls. And unfortunately, a lot of these casinos, they're not keeping track. I mean, if they do, they ain't telling anybody. I mean, luckily, like the guy that rolled 107 in Atlantic City, somebody was there tracking the rolls. And the only way somebody's gonna believe it is
even that old lady, they said she had like 160 rolls or something like that, whatever that was, whatever the world record was. And it was sad because there were so many people that made thousands, but at that type of number, you should make tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
If the max bet.
But even that casino, they're not keeping track. That means they had to have gone to the tape just to see because it was so long of a roll and counted the rolls.
Well, so now all the casinos do count because they stopped the average going by time. It used to go by time, and so people with this long come out sequence just before they even shoot the dice would hold the dice forever, and you'd have a golden arm over at the count. Now they're pushing the thing, and you'll see a little circle on the felt with lights around it. And what that's doing is it's calculating every time there's a roll, and if the stick actually does their job, and that helps with your average bet because your average bet goes across how many rolls you had, not the time. So they should have an accurate count of the thing if they wanted to share it with you. Maybe you get them some cannolis from Giuseppe. they may break down and give you the number.
Oh, Biggs is asking, what are the names of those apps? So the apps I actually have, I don't even see them in the App Store anymore. But one is called Craps Dice Tracker, which I actually paid for. And the other one is Craps Counter. And Craps Counter I like is because it actually has all the buttons for like your left and right die. like the whole 36 combination, and you can just hit it. So that's probably an app I would use, because a dice tracker one doesn't have the combinations. It just has,
until the casinos
the number you hit.
allow, phones at the table.
If you let me, I mean, that's what I'd like to use.
Telling you to put it away, or you have to turn around, or something like that. And then you have a lot of, like, even if you get the perfect booklet, it's still bulky, right? Like, it needs to go in your pocket, it needs to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And like, even,
or you need somebody like Jen that's there, somebody that's just recording. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is difficult, and I'm with you. When I'm shooting, I typically don't like to do that. I'll hand it off to someone else to do.
Yeah,
but
if somebody wants to keep track, because you're not
it does
concentrating on jotting down your roll. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to come on here and extend your time. I just didn't want to leave you alone, knowing that you.
Oh no, it's all good.
I didn't know that you had put the thing out there in the beginning, or else I would have jumped in here with you. So,
to lay the bet on the last ATS number, if it's a 4 or 10, is tough. Yeah.
No, I think it's still easy. It depends,
not looking
right?
Too good. Yeah, it depends on how much you have on the ATS. Like I had 25 on there, and 10 was my last number, and I actually laid it because I knew I was going to win, 850 or 900 or something. I know some of the other guys, I heard one of the regulars, he was like, I'm not laying it. You're going to hit it. And he didn't lay it, and he got paid, full. So I just lay it to guarantee myself for that. I'll
lay it and hop it a few times, especially if my bets are high enough to be able to support the hop.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I was actually hopping specific numbers, so like say it was the 9, that I needed when it was like the last number or point or whatever, and I was hopping them for me and the dealers like 2-way, and I couldn't believe it that I was like hitting them
a bunch of times. Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And that's why I'm attributing it to like that tournament, because it really made me look at it different,
Fuzzy said hack into the system to access the film.
LOL, up 1K on 300 buy-in. We think we can turn that 1K to 10K. Yeah, everyone's greed is what gets us, I think. Because like I said, I see a lot of people where, they're on the good roll and everyone's in the green. But on the monster rolls, if they don't color up, I see them give it back. I mean, I've done it too. I've given it back.
Will tell you the same thing, that at some point during a session, most people get to profit.
Oh, they do.
Do they leave after that, right? Like that could have been their role, but they left it all on the table. Even though they got to profit, maybe they didn't collect it into the rack or whatever. If you have a long session, you're down. Let's say you're in for 1,000, you're down 600, down 700. You get back to like minus 100 or minus 50 after a really good roll. Leave. Being down 50 when you already thought you had burned $700, like be satisfied with that. That sometimes is okay, especially if you're going to have to wait 6 people for you to shoot.
So Steve's Bags asking, how many stick changes do you think happened during a roll? I want to say I saw 5 or 6, and they do 20-minute stick changes.
Who was your crew? Was there any of the old timers there?
Yeah, it's all the crews you've seen before. They were all good.
Yeah, they're all really good folks. Yeah.
They all, wanted to make money too, so they were loving it. Some of them were walking up. They were like, "Damn, you're still rolling." I'm like, "Yeah, come on, call these damn numbers."
Yeah, nice.
All right. At what
All right.
point during your roll did you get the feeling it was going to be a monster? So to tell you the truth, as I was rolling, I was betting, I wasn't even thinking about like
How long it was, or
how many rolls or anything. I was just like, press it up, give me my money. That was my mentality. Was it, even though I wasn't doing the hard presses, it was just when I got it into the banana chip level, and I realized, the guy was standing there, chip fill with all banana chips waiting. That's when I was like, holy fuck. And seeing the empty, dust circles in the bank, I was like, damn, that's when I realized it. But I would have loved to see those banana chips on the table. Oh man, a few more rolls and it would have been on there.
I've never seen them have banana chips there at all. So
yeah, that's why the dealers told me, because they don't have banana chips in the bank like right off the bat. So when I heard the dealer say this is gonna be the first time I see him pull out the banana chips, I was like, holy fuck. And that's when I realized
what you had on the table.
Yeah. That's when I started counting how much I had on the table and realized, fuck, I got almost 15K out there, and I was like, that's when I realized it's a monster, because I know personally, and seeing like you and like the other guys, we always hammer like one or two numbers and we get those bets up there. But when I saw mine, all of them up there, I was like, holy fuck, that's when I really knew, because I was like, I've never gotten all the numbers up that high, maybe 1 to 3 numbers, but not all of them. And then that's when I realized, let me try to figure out how many rolls I got. So
it's all about Pound Town. If you can go to Pound Town, you can make money. You'll make more money overall playing craps on numbers repeating than you will bonuses. Yep. Bonuses make a huge you can add a 0 to your color up sometimes, but at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot more times where you have that big roll, but maybe not the bonus, and you have to learn how to make money off that. And and you made more money off the bonus than you did than with the bonuses. So
I'd say it evened out, but I just couldn't believe I hit 5 talls, the same day, and 2, ATSs, and then the 5-point fire with the 6-point lit up. Like earlier, I was saying that's my dream, is to hit the 6-point and the ATS on the same roll, because I haven't done it yet. And I know that's been my goal for like a long time. I mean, I've told my wife, I'm like, man, I just want to hit that 6-point fire and the ATS, but I'm so close.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, kudos to you. I'm gonna let you get back to your wife here, but it was great hearing your story, and I'm sure we'll see each other again, maybe in secret. All right, take care.
He said in secret. Yeah, because those few times we met up in the beginning, we were hammering the casino.
Yeah, it was a great duo, you and I. So I'm not saying that.
And we did it at a bunch of casinos, because we went from one to the other. That's what I was used to doing, actually, is hitting up a bunch of casinos, and as long as you're winning at one, and then you leave that one and you hit another one, and if you're still doing good, I'll make it a whole day of just hitting up all the different casinos.
The perfect number is like 2 to 3 people, for whatever reason, because you still get the dice back pretty fast no matter what. People that have any sense, even if they're a good shooter, will pass it back to someone that's hot. When I was on the cruise ship, I passed it. So, huge,
Fuzzy
huge.
hack into their system to access the film.
Yeah,
Man,
but no,
I would
huge
love
kudos
to
to you.
see that video for sure.
We'll do it again for sure at some point next year. Only a couple cruises. I might do a couple of maybe more than a couple, but there'll be shorter ones where I don't use PTO for. So, all right, take care, man.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Craps Dice Tracker Pro. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I know. I've talked to that guy that makes that, and he was supposed to make it for Android also. I don't know if he ever got around to it. I haven't checked recently. You ate all the banana chips. No, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to eat the banana chips. Yeah. Being on a hot table is such a rush. Every time you throw the dice, they give you money. Yeah, that's basically what you're thinking about, is as long as you're getting the dice back, you know. Maybe if somebody was keeping track of the rolls, it would probably affect it, especially if they start telling you or show you the number. But yeah, if you get on, you know, those grooves or the roll and you're just like, I don't know, it's almost like tunnel vision. Even though I'm sitting there chatting and stuff like that, once I get the dice, it's like my mind goes blank. That's my thought. Like, as soon as I start setting the dice. Yep, great story. You can tell for years to come. Yeah, I'm hoping to do it again soon, for sure. We'll see. Yeah, one of these days they'll let me record. Hopefully. Then, because I've been saying it for years that you guys would see some crazy stuff. If Illinois lets us record, you would see some crazy stuff. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thanks for spending the time, and we'll see you at the table sometime soon. If you're holding dice, betting strategy sometimes goes out the window. Yeah, so that's why some of the guys that know how I bet know that what I showed you in the spreadsheet, I was actually betting, like, to me, that was betting conservative. But it still worked out, so I'm not too worried about it, because it probably evened out. Only because I would have left, like I said, usually I leave 60% on the table, and my rack is like 40. Only because I start off really, really low. All right. Yep. Have a good night.
Dice grinders, getting hype on the felt. Roll the dice and we delve. Step into the table, ain't no pity for self. Yo, the game's on, money long, jackpot in the palm. Bouncing off the wall, got my squad staying calm. 7-11, bringing heaven, ain't no bet. I'm regretting, crack the code like a legend. All the stacks we collected, throwing bones, street lamps and sorcery tones. In the zone, game of thrown, watch it flash like a phone. Dice grinders, popping collars, no fear in the eye. We on fire, building empires, striking higher than sky. Bank rolls, heart and soul, let the fervor ignite. Victory tonight, it's the gambler's delight. Roll that come out bang, about to spread my fame. Win or lose, game infused, ain't no shame in the chain. Swag sweat drips, luck flips, yeah the stakes are insane. Crush the tables, fate was spinning, welcoming rain. Crowd buzz, razzle dazzle, cheers on the rise. Backdoor pass, y'all dreaming larger in size. Chasing aces, kingly paces, no disguise. Fortune glossy, living pie.